Richards, would you please take the roll?
Morning, members of the committee. It is the second day of the biennial budget markup. Senator Driscoll. Here. Senator French. Senator Guru.
Here.
Senator Larson. Here. Representative Almand. Representative Angelos. Representative Harrelson.
Here.
Representative Pendergraft.
Here.
Representative Sherwood.
Here.
Representative Smith.
Here.
Co-Chairman Salazar.
Here.
Mr. Chairman.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Director, if you could just go over the schedule for today so that everybody understands what we're trying to get accomplished.
Mr. Chairman, I understand the committee will recommence its work in the Department of Health. I believe you're on the third unit. I believe that the intent is to continue in order in agency order. I can't predict exactly where you might be, but you're on pace to be past 100 at this point, past agency 100. At 4 p.m., the committee has scheduled a markup of the state capital construction bill. That language, with one exception, is included in your book 227 for state capital construction. The one outlier is yesterday's action moved major maintenance from the budget bill to the capital construction bill.
Okay. So that's at 4 p.m. All right. We'll take a few breaks amongst the way. I know my colleagues probably are concerned that I might forget to do that, but we'll try to keep an eye on their. I'll be kicked by my vice chair here if I don't. All right. Director, I believe we're on agency 48, unit 401. And we were in the midst of that when we took a break. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, that is correct. And there is a technical item or a policy choice. This is the first instance where the governor has requested that any reversions within the Department of Health from the current biennium may be used and carried over for specific purposes: facilities, Title 25, and unanticipated Medicaid expenditures. That type of authority has been included, I believe, in the last 3 biennia, but it is certainly a policy choice for the legislature to either concur or reject the governor's proposal.
Okay. Do I have any amendments? I don't care.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Do I have any amendments? Go ahead, Representative
Mr.
Pendergraft.
Chair, I would move the footnote as outlined by Director Richards.
Okay, do I have a second? Second by Senator Guru. Any discussion on this amendment on a footnote to give a little bit more flex authority within this department? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion for a footnote, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Are there any other amendments on unit 401? Representative Pendergraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Page 81, the request is for 2 Medicaid long-term eligibility workers. And if I could beg the indulgence of the co-chairs and the committee for just a moment. A lot of times when we make these motions, the first question is, why are you doing that? And I have a number of motions to make today, and the why is fairly consistent through most of them. And so I thought it would be good just to kind of explain where we're coming from. Would that be appropriate at this time?
I'll allow it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was Reagan who famously said, government's not the solution to the problem, it is the problem. And many of us do not feel that that's just a catchy phrase. We actually believe it. And I believe it quite wholeheartedly. The problem is we have become addicted to government intervention, and a lot of people have become dependent upon government. And like any addiction, that withdrawal is going to have some pain. This is a little bit, in my view, like trying to stop a train. We have a tremendous amount of momentum built up. And understanding that if we were to jump up in the cab of that train and just start slamming levers and shut the thing down, we're going to cause a big wreck and we're going to cause a lot of destruction. But it doesn't make sense if you firmly believe, as I do, that this is the wrong course of action, that we keep accelerating in that direction. And so my motions are intended to stop the acceleration. That being said, I move, Mr. Chairman, that the governor's recommendation be reduced by $63,123 and 2 FTEs.
I think it would be appropriate. That's general funds. It's associated with
Yeah.
some federal funds. You could make that all in one motion if you prefer.
That would be effective, and that would, again, that would be appropriate for several of these motions. So,
Reduction in federal funds then?
yeah, reduction in
be-
general funds, reduction in federal funds. The reduction of federal funds is in the amount of $189,367.
Is there a second? Second by Alaman. Discussion on the motion. Representative Sherwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you for the conversation and sort of the philosophical approach that we are attempting to take today. My concern with cutting these positions is that in the big, beautiful bill, there is a payment error rate that the state could face. So as our hardworking state employees are vetting folks who are applying for this program, if we have a rate that is higher than 3%, that could cost the state in federal funds. So we could, for every 1%, our error rate goes up or over this 3%, that could cost the state $4 million that we would owe the feds. So I think there's balance here in terms of workload, and the more that we are asking our current employees to do, the more room there is for error. And then the error rate now costs us funds. And I, for one, don't want to send $4 million to the federal government. So just adding some color to that, I would ask the committee to consider that as we vote on this motion.
Okay, further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion, say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other motions, amendments on Unit 401? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended, Unit 401, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Next unit appears on page 91, Unit 420, Children's Health Insurance Program, SCHIP.
Are there any amendments to Unit 420? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 420, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 94, Unit 431, Medicare Part D clawback.
Are there any amendments to Unit 431? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 431, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 97, Unit 432, Dual Eligible Excluded Drugs.
I'm sorry, what was that unit number?
Mr. Chairman, Unit 432.
432. Are there any amendments on Unit 432? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 432, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 100, Unit 433, Medicare crossovers.
Are there any amendments to Unit 433? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 433, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 103, Unit 450, Medicare buy-in premiums.
Are there any amendments to Unit 450? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 450, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Unit carries. Please take us to the next unit.
Next unit appears on page 105, Unit 451, Wyoming Health Insurance Premiums.
Are there any amendments to Unit 451? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 451, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 110, Unit 460, Adult Services.
Are there any amendments to Unit 460? Representative Pendergraft.
Mr. Chairman, I move the governor's recommendation be reduced by $1,764,292 in general funds and an identical amount for federal funds.
On that page number,
108.
just to help the public. Is there a
Yeah.
second? Second by Representative Smith. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion, please say aye. Oh. Representative Sherwood?
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And again, for the benefit of the public here, we are discussing the behavioral health rate rebasing. So these are our providers who are in the front lines of serving those who have mental health issues. So when we talk about rate rebasing, this is the amount that those providers are being reimbursed to cover the actual cost of serving these clients. I am going to be in support of this, in support of the governor's recommendation, because my constituents have told me this is a #1 priority for them, to make sure that we have access to mental health services, to suicide prevention. And to have access, that means we actually have to have providers in our community that are getting paid to provide these services. We heard testimony from the department that some of our providers are, making the business model work and others are not. So I just wanted to share with the public why I'm going to be a no on this.
Okay, further discussion? All right, so just to be clear, we are funding the base amount, so these providers are being paid. This would be an increase to those providers' payment. So that's what we're voting on. We're voting on the amendment to deny this increase in the payment to those providers. So all those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, oh, I'm sorry. Are there any other amendments to this unit? Representative Pendergraft.
Mr. Chairman, I move the governor's recommendation be reduced. This is on page 109, pardon me. Mr. Chairman, I move the governor's recommendation be reduced by $8,577,000 in general funds and the identical amount for federal funds.
Is there a second? Second by Representative Angelos. Discussion. Senator Grew.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On and against the motion. We've talked a lot in the interim in labor health and here and around the state about maternity deserts and the cost of delivery services, especially in critical care hospitals. We're opening hospitals around the state, and as they open, they're facing funding shortages across the board. And so what this is, I think what this is trying to do is try to, increase the capability and the probability of delivery services at those critical access hospitals. Now, we hear that maybe in the One Big Beautiful Bill, or maybe in other federal legislation, that will be addressed. I find it interesting that today we're taking the maybes with the federal government. Around here, most of the time, we decry the federal government and we call them charlatans and phonies about how they deal with things. But today, we're maybe we'll take them, maybe we don't. On and against this critical need. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, further discussion? Representative Angelos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to be in agreement with this in talking to the department. This could be, and they said could be, crossover with the rural health transformation. Again, this is increasing the amount that's reimbursed. We're not taking anything away. And until we get to the root of the problem of malpractice insurance and talking to OBs that is the issue, not the reimbursement rates, then we need to get to that root of the issue. And I will be in support of this amendment. Thank you.
Further discussion? Senator Driscoll.
Unopposed to the motion. Once again, this is absolutely a wonderful way to drive expectant mothers to Utah and other states to do the delivery, which ultimately means they don't live in this state. Everything we're going about here is making strokes to make it a tougher place for people to live. We already have a problem with out-migration, and these play key parts of it. You know, if I was young and married and moving into the state and there's no maternity care, and it doesn't matter what we're talking about, if there's not maternity care, you're not going to live in Wyoming. And folks, we're gonna end up with bigger cities growing bigger. You're gonna have it in Cheyenne, by the way. I'm sitting in a town that's gonna have maternity care. But we're not gonna have it at all the edges. The places like where I live up in the Northeast, you're gonna go to South Dakota. And ultimately, it means you live in another state. And I think it's tragic. This is a death by 1,000 cuts, slowly making it where Wyoming is not a good place for people to live. And we're very effectively doing it slowly. We had a great statement about it. It's painful to go through withdrawal. It's also painful to kill your state one piece at a time, and we're working at it.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Any further amendments to Unit 401? I'm sorry, 460, thank you. Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended on Unit 460, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 114, Unit 461, Children's Services.
Are there any amendments to Unit 461? Representative Pendergraft.
Mr. Chairman, regarding page 112, Medicaid home health rate increase, I move the governor's recommendation be reduced by 672,728 and federal funds in the same way.
That would be page 112 for the public. Is there a second?
Yes, correct.
Second by Representative Smith. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Any other amendments to Unit 461?
Mr. Chairman, on
Representative
page
Pendergraft.
113, increasing funding levels. This is an increased request for funding levels. I move the governor's recommendation be reduced by $2,530,830 and the same amount in federal funds.
Is there a second? Second by Representative Haroldson. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other amendments on Unit 461? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended on Unit 461, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 117, Unit 462, Out-of-Home Placements, Children.
Are there any amendments to Unit 462? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 462, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 120, Unit 463, Nursing Facility Services.
Are there any amendments on Unit 463? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation on Unit 463, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 123, Unit 464, Hospice.
Are there any amendments on Unit 464? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 464, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 126, Unit 470, Optional Services, Adult.
Are there any amendments on Unit 470? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 470, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 129, Unit 471, Indian Health Services.
Are there any amendments on Unit 471? Representative Pendergraft.
Mr. Chairman, page 128, I move the governor's recommendation be reduced by 58 million in federal funds.
Are there any is there a second? Seconded by Representative Smith. Discussion on the unit.
Mr. Chairman.
Representative Sherwood.
Thank you. Just would like, again, for the public to know, we're talking about Indian Health Services. This is 100% federal funds. And Wyoming Medicaid is legally required to automatically adopt these new federal calculated rates. And just would like the bringer of the amendment to address why he's proposing a reduction here. Thank you.
Representative Pendergraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an ask for an increase. And as I've stated before, I believe that the first option, the first thing that needs to be done is to stop the acceleration.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Allenman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want everybody to remember, these are not cuts. We're not cutting anything. We're just not allowing increases to run away. Thank you.
Okay. Senator Group.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but costs are increasing. What it costs to go to the hospital today is more than it cost 4 years ago. What it costs to go to the grocery store and buy a pound of beef costs more today than it did 4 years ago. I understand the theory about stopping acceleration. Then try to cut the rates of acceleration by making not these draconian cuts, but maybe slowdowns in cuts. But what you're doing is while trying to slow down the train, you're throwing our tribal members under it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Further discussion, Senator Driscoll?
Yeah, following on that, these are cuts. You're saving some federal money. What you're actually doing is denying service to people of Wyoming. You're looking them in the eye and telling them we're going to deny them service. I get that the costs have gone up, but you're literally looking people that live in Wyoming, and these are tribal members, by the way. This is 100% federal. It's all funded. They're trying to take care of probably our most disadvantaged population we have in the entire state. And we're looking them in the eye and saying, we don't care about you. If you want to vote that way, keep doing it. You're getting me really riled up over it because it's about people, folks. This isn't just money. This is about what we provide. And for a big part of it, it's the people that need it the worst. It's the people that really need it. And, you know, they don't have another place to turn to for a lot of them. We're doing a great job of telling them we don't care about them. Thank you.
Further discussion?
Question.
I think I would say that those people voting for these these restrictions on increases in funding are also looking out for the taxpayer. That's, in my opening statement yesterday, I stated that we do represent the taxpayer. And anytime you increase spending in government of any type, you are putting a burden on the taxpayer. Yes, these benefits will not be expanded if we do not fund it. And I think my colleagues that are pushing for more spending make an impassioned argument about services. But also somebody needs to look out for the taxpayer. And I think those people who are voting against expanding Medicaid further are looking out for the taxpayer. With that, all those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion? I'll allow it.
I would ask you all read the Constitution. We talk about taxpayers. The Constitution is very clear. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the people that can't take care of themselves, what I just talked about. The Constitution is very clear that taxpayers are to take care of them. And it's not a choice, it's we're to take care of them. When you look at the Constitution, it's clear. And I will represent to you, and I've said this before, and I've been beat on repeatedly. Some of these actions are going to lead to lawsuits that probably cost us more money than the cuts save. You know, there's a need out there to take care of the people that have a hard time taking care of themselves. And I get the increases. I've just got done with a wife with breast cancer. I know what it costs at the hospitals. It is painful, folks. And by denying any of this, really what you're doing is denying health care. And if that's what you want to do, you own it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion, please say aye. All those opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Next, any other amendments on Unit 471? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended on Unit 471, please say aye. All those opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 132, Unit 472, Wyoming Life Resource Center.
Are there any amendments to Unit 472? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 472, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 136, Unit 483, Community Choices Waiver.
Are there any amendments on Unit 483? Representative Pendergraft.
Mr. Chairman, referencing page 134, I move the governor's recommendation be reduced by $11,240,794 in general funds. Additionally, $16,359,906 in federal funds.
Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, I want to take a break.
Okay. So that was seconded by Representative Smith. We'll take a 5-minute recess. recess. And I'm going to open it back up to discussion on this unit before we vote. We were just about ready to vote, and this is Unit 483. Is there any further discussion on Unit 483? Seeing none, all those in favor of Pendergraft's motion on Unit 483, please say aye. All those opposed?
No.
Oh,
Motion carries. All those, are there any other amendments on Unit 483? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended on Unit 483, please say aye. Those opposed?
no.
Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 140, Unit 485, Comprehensive Waiver. Mr. Chairman, we were asked to alert the committee that this unit and the next one were the topics of your interim topic on developmental disabilities.
Okay. Representative Pendergraft, well, first of all, are there any amendments? Representative Pendergraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would preface this by saying when we look out at society, there are those who cannot fend for themselves, and that's why we're here. And when we look at several of the last issues that we've had, there may or may not be, there's some debate about how necessary that is, or are they able to take care of themselves or not? In this case, these folks can't do that. And this committee had gotten together and discussed some issues, and following motions are forthcoming. On page 138, Extraordinary Care Committee, the emergency waiver placements, continuation of ARPA. Mr. Chairman, I move the government's recommendation be increased by $5,450,000 in general funds and the same figure in federal funds.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Co-Chair Salazar. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Are there any other amendments on Unit 485? Seeing none,
Mr. Chairman.
go ahead.
Adoption of that amendment, if the committee desires, might benefit from a footnote because the 5.4 million isn't clear as to how it would be spent. So we would suggest a footnote that the 5.4 million general funds and federal funds are for purposes of emergency situations for the Emergency Care Committee and to reduce the wait list, if that's acceptable.
So moving, I think that should probably say to eliminate the wait list if possible. All right, so you've heard the footnote, a motion by Pendergraft, seconded by
Larson.
Senator Larson. Any discussion on this footnote? Unit 485.
Mr. Chairman,
Representative Harrelson.
thank you. And I think, not to belabor this, but we spent a lot of time on this in our interim and we toured facilities. And I think it's really important to understand you can't always eliminate wait lists all the way. That's not always feasible. But one thing you do have to realize, families that are in these situations where they have a loved one that is hurting, a loved one that is not able to take care of themselves, these wait lists sometimes can be incredibly life-changing. And so it's incredibly good to see that we have the opportunity to bring that wait list down. And I believe this will probably be a situation where we're going to have to, this will be a continued conversation because we will have to see what that means and looks like for our state. But I'm excited to see that maybe we can be a part of moving that needle in this area.
Mr. Chairman?
Okay, further discussion. Senator Guru?
Yeah, on and for, I just want to say that I do appreciate the efforts, especially of the entire committee and especially Senator Salazar for making this, shining a light on this issue. We spent a lot of time on it and it's very gratifying. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, further discussion? Director, I'd like to clarify. I said eliminate the wait list. We had a lot of discussion, so I'd really like to make sure, do you recall this dollar amount? Where does it put us on the waiting list? Because we had talked about 33%, 50%. completely eliminating the DD waiver wait list. What does this amount theoretically do at this point?
Mr. Chairman, based upon the testimony by the Department of Health over the interim, I believe they indicated this would cover half of the wait list.
50%. Okay, so that footnote really should say, reduce the DD waiver wait list by 50%. Representative Pendergraft?
Mr. Chairman, there is another motion to come, referencing page 138, and that one, excuse me, referencing page 142. And that one is the attempt to reduce the wait list.
Right. So I think the one that we just passed actually does the provider rates. And it doesn't, it does two things. It replaces the money that ARPA had funded. And then there was a study stating what the amount would need to be for the provider rates. So I think with the last motion, but now we're doing a footnote for the next motion that's coming that was just described on the wait list. So we want to make sure if we pass this next motion, we have a footnote that puts some description of what the legislature is trying to achieve. Do we need a footnote on the previous motion?
Mr. Chairman, my apologies. I had those reversed. There is a need for a footnote for Representative Pendergraft's motion of 5.45 million. But the footnote would state that those funds are for emergency waiver placements, as I indicated, and rates to the providers.
Okay.
And the reason why, just to be clear, why we need a footnote is all of these units in healthcare financing are consolidated in the budget bill into one number. And they wouldn't know whether that was optional childcare or S-chip unless the agency has given specificity. And I wanted to effectuate your intentions. I was speaking to the wrong unit, but thank you.
Okay, so let's go ahead and adjust, if you don't mind, Representative Pendergraft,
Yes.
adjust this particular motion to be on the footnote that goes with your previous motion that was passed. So if you'd like to revise the motion.
So moved.
Okay, so this motion is to restrict the funds that we just authorized to provider rates. And so is there a second? Second by Angelos. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion for a footnote on the provider rates, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Is there another amendment to unit 485? Representative Pendergraft.
The last, no, it's next unit, sorry.
Oh, 486, okay. So I don't see any other amendments on 485. All those in favor of the governor's recommendation as amended on unit 485, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 144, unit 486, support services.
Are there any amendments to unit 486?
Yes.
Representative Pendergraft.
Mr. Chairman, reference page 142, and now we get to the reduction of the wait list. I move the government's recommendation to increase by $4.5 million general funds, $4.5 million federal funds. I would also accept the footnote as previously noted.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Guru. Discussion? Okay, so we're voting on both the adjustment and the footnote that would go with it, ensuring that these funds go to reducing the waiting list to 50%. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Are there any other amendments to unit 486? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation as amended, unit 486, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 147, unit 491, rural health transformation.
Representative Pendergraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Referencing page 145, it should be noted by the public that we're going to remove these funds from the budget and run this as an independent bill. We figure that it is more appropriately handled in that way. So therefore, Mr. Chairman, I move the government's recommendation be decreased by $344 million in federal funds And I might add also for the public's notice, when that bill comes out, we've actually looking at a larger number at that point. Thank you.
Seconded by Senator Larson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. I think that's pretty clear that we're moving that into that bill. And when is it, Director, that we are going to be going over that bill this week?
That is on your agenda for Thursday.
Thursday. So just so the public knows, we will be addressing that issue and ensuring that those federal dollars are both received and that the legislature has some input on how we spend that. So is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended on Unit 491, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 153, Unit 501, Public Health Division Administration.
Are there any amendments to Unit 501? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 501, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 157, Unit 502, Public Health Preparedness.
Are there any amendments on Unit 502? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 502, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 162, Unit 503, Emergency, Medical Services, and Hospital Preparedness.
Are there any amendments on Unit 503? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 503, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 166, Unit 510, Rural and Frontier Health.
Are there any amendments to Unit, I'm sorry, what was that unit number again?
510.
510. Are there any amendments to Unit 510? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 510, please say aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 170, Unit 522, Immunization.
Are there any amendments on Unit 522? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 522, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 176, Unit 523, Maternal and Child Services.
Are there any amendments to Unit 523? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 523, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 179, Unit 524, Nurse Home Visitation.
Are there any amendments to Unit 524? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 524, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 184, Unit 525, Women, Infants, and Children.
Are there any amendments to Unit 525? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 525, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 193, Unit 526, Public Health Nursing.
Are there any amendments to Unit 526?
Mr. Chairman,
Representative Sherwood.
thank you. I would like to move denial of the governor's recommendation in this unit. This is in regards to the public health nurse staff funding.
So if you could rephrase the motion to be in the positive.
Let's see here. Usually I am quite positive.
Make a
Mr.
motion.
Chairman, I would like to deny the governor's request and increase the general fund appropriation here by the $203,497.
Okay. Seconded by Haroldson. So just to be clear, we're increasing from the governor's recommendation of 0 to $203,497. Is there, and a second by Haroldson. Any discussion on this unit? Senator Greer, would you like to describe?
Yeah, thanks,
this is.
Mr. Chairman. Sorry. Thanks, Trey. This was for, each county has a public health nurse or a public health office except for one, I believe. And in the largest counties, it's a cost split between the towns and the counties. All this does is bring parity to those larger counties whose counties are funding part of this as well, to equalize the funding so they rise to the level that all the counties' health officials are being paid the same. So it's not a winner loser here. This is just bringing parity across the board. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Sherwood's motion, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, motion carries. Are there any other amendments on Unit 526? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation as amended on unit 526, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 198, unit 531, cancer screening.
Are there any amendments to unit 531? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, unit 531, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 203, unit 532, public health laboratory.
Are there
Mr.
any
Chairman,
amendments?
there is a technical issue
Okay.
on this.
Please.
If you look on page 202 in the table, $1,820,623 is miscoded. So in order to rectify this, we would make an exception in section 311 and not concur with the governor's rec on this unit since the table is erroneous. It's just in the wrong object code.
Okay, so not only do we not concur, would we need to, in the motion, in the 311 section, would we need to declare what the proper code is?
Mr. Chairman, I don't think that is necessary. You can agree with that amount of money and then just disagree with the location of the funds.
Okay, all right. Are there any amendments on unit 201?
Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry, 532. Representative Haroldson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I move to agree with the funding of the governor's rec, but not the location of the governor's rec.
Okay, do I have a second? Second by Representative Sherwood, I believe. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Haroldson's motion, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Are there any other amendments on unit 532? Representative Pendergraph.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Reference page 201. Mr. Chairman, I move the governor's, I cannot say that word today. I move the governor's recommendation be decreased by $2,968,000, and following a second, I would, for the public's benefit, wish to explain why.
Seconded by Representative Smith. Representative Pendergraph.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This $2,968,000 is a request by the department to continue ARPA funds, which have ceased. The original funds were for contact tracing, case investigations, outbreak investigations, healthcare provider trainings, monitor of travelers to Wyoming, distribution of testing kits to the state, county, and private agencies, detection and mitigation in jails and prisons and homeless shelters. This was directly related to the emergency actions that were felt necessary at the time under COVID. That crisis has passed, and there is no need to continue this additional funding.
All right, is there any further discussion? Representative Sherwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I apologize if I'm on the wrong page.
This is page 201.
Thank you. I guess I didn't realize that this request was tied to what my colleague was stating. In the narrative, it talks about the lab's level of state funding is no longer sufficient to sustain current operations due to increasing costs, so inflation, on equipment, maintenance, critical software, and building monitoring. So I apologize, I didn't realize that those two things were connected. My understanding is if this request is denied, services will be reduced by 50%.
Okay. Representative Pendergraph.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In light of that, I went and asked some questions of the Department of Health. They sent a response, and in attachment A to their letter 518, the explanation that I just read was presented. And in light of that follow-up questioning, that's where this amendment comes from. I do not believe that the earlier statement is necessarily accurate.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Representative Pendergraph, the comment by Representative Sherwood about a reduction of 50%, could it be that this agency was increased by 50% during the ARPA funding? Is that a possibility? Representative Angelos?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have from the department that said that courier services would be reduced or could be reduced. They were increased during COVID. The other thing, they also said that a lot of their agreements had gone up 100% after these ARPA funds were there. So that is some of the explanation, but courier services would be reduced.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
No,
Motion carries. Any other amendments to unit 532? Director?
Mr. Chairman, my apologies. I had not contemplated all of the committee's actions. Now that the money has been entirely removed, the footnote that Representative Harrelson, and I appreciate you making that motion, it is no longer necessary. So if
Okay.
you wanted to remove that.
Okay, so
Mr. Chairman, I
Representative
would
Harrelson.
make a motion to strike the footnote previously placed in the footnotes.
Okay, is there a second? Seconded by Senator Guru. I would just make a note that your effort will not necessarily go unused, because on the floor that may be reinstated and they'll need that footnote at that time. Director Hibbard?
Mr. Chairman, the statistic that was mentioned, that was an error. You can see it on page 201, and it should have been in 240. And that is 607,227. So that would be moved from the 292 to the 240.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Harrelson's motion, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Are there any other amendments to unit 532? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended on unit 532, please say aye.
aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 208, unit 534, communicable disease.
Are there any amendments to unit 534? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, unit 534, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
The next unit appears on page 211, unit 538, chronic disease, epidemiology and surveillance.
Are there any amendments to unit 538? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, unit 538, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 215, unit 539, injury and chronic disease prevention.
Are there any amendments to unit 539? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, unit 539, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 219, unit 540, infectious disease epidemiology.
Are there any amendments to unit 540? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, unit 540, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 223, unit 550, substance abuse and tobacco prevention. If you choose to agree with the governor's rec, there is a need for a footnote to make $952,343 effective immediate.
Are there any amendments, unit 550? Representative Sherwood?
So move.
All right, is there a second? Second by Senator Guru. Any discussion on the footnote? All right, you're voting on Representative Sherwood's motion for a footnote on the tobacco account. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Any other amendments to unit 550? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended, unit 550, please say aye. Aye. As opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 225, unit 585, WIC, ARP.
Are there any amendments to unit 585? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, unit 585, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 230, unit 2501, behavioral health administration.
Are there any amendments on unit 2501? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation on unit 2501, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 233, unit 2502, recovery supports.
Are there any amendments on unit 2502? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, unit 2502, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, unit carries. Next unit, please.
Next unit appears on page 237, unit 2505, Wyoming State Hospital. And I would comment there was some discussion of a potential amendment. It doesn't have to be located here, but this is the unit with the largest number of nurses. if there was a desire to look at compensation, which was referred to yesterday in the Department of Transportation.
Okay, is there an amendment on unit 2505? Representative Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move the governor's recommendation to increase one state hospital to pay nurses at the 2024 base rate
Is there
or
a
pay
second?
table.
Second.
Second by Senator Drew. Discussion? Okay, just to be clear, the choice of which hospital would be up to the department. And we'll just have to put a placeholder there for the amount. Do we have an estimate of the amount?
Mr. Chairman, we do. We received that information yesterday, I believe, from the Department of Health.
Mr. Chairman, at the state hospital, that would be $1,895,448.
Okay, just so the committee understands what they're voting on and the public. Thank you, Ms. Vaughn, for that. And so that would be if the agency chooses the largest hospital, they'll do this pilot program at. So that's pretty clear. Representative Haroldson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just a clarifier for the population, general populace listening to this, because you might be like, why are we choosing one hospital to do this? In our testimony from Department of Health, the concern that we are continuing to have is that traveling nurses make up a majority of the nursing staff that we're seeing move through our state. And we have to pay so much more for traveling nurses. And they said, if we rebase the actual pay rate, we're going to see that shift. And we want to know that, because if we can rebase that pay rate and it does shift, then we win. And so we are basically creating a model to see if that is the case. So we're basically creating a test model over the next biennium. And if that's the case, then we can address that and adjust that, and in the end, save all of us money as taxpayers. And so we're not just saying, well, we like one hospital over another. No, we're saying, let's do a test model. And if it works, then we'll make that what we do generally across the board, or maybe we won't, but someone will hopefully, and see the intelligence of that action.
Okay, further discussion? Seeing none, all the,
Mr. Chairman, I
Miss
apologize, Alyssa
Now?
Eliso. I would also like to confirm the footnote you put on the YDOT edition yesterday also included the 2024 pay tables were adopted in any capacity. It wouldn't be a double dip. I just wanted to make sure this footnote would have that same language.
yeah, I think we would. Is that amenable,
Yes.
Representative Smith? Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
So
Chairman.
the added language would be that if, before the bill passes, the enterprise-wide pay raises are accepted, then this would go away. Okay. Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Smith's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other amendments on Unit 2505? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended on Unit 2505, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 240, Unit 2506, Outpatient Mental Health.
Are there any amendments on Unit 2506? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 2506, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 243, Unit 2507, Outpatient Substance Abuse. If the committee,
We need a footnote here.
yes, a request to make $9,572,983 effective immediate, if you concur with the governor's rec.
Okay.
I so move.
All right, there's a motion by Representative Sherwood, seconded by Representative Haroldson, to make 9.5 and some change effective immediately. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Sherwood's motion, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Any other amendments? Unit 2507. Representative Pendercraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the governor's recommendation to be decreased by $173,656 in federal funds and one AWAC employee. This is on page 242, extend funding for AWAC position number 97030.
Okay. Second by Representative Smith. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Representative Sherwood?
could the bringer of the motion remind us what this position does? Thank you.
Representative Pendergraft?
Thank you, Representative Sherwood. You always make my day. I will have to look it up.
Director Hibbard?
Mr. Chairman, this AWAC position has a natural sunset on 9/29/2007. That's the federal fiscal period. So this happens automatically. They're just wishing to cross that AWAC. Remember, if the governor provides an AWAC, they have to ask for it to be extended. So they're just asking for that extension, but it does have a natural sunset on 9/29/2027. And that's for the
2027?
opioid response.
Okay. I think that, does that, Representative Sherwood, does that answer your question?
So just to clarify, we're talking about the state opioid response program, for the SOAR grant, that this position supports that. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, that is true. That is 100% federal funds.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Okay, let me see hands on that one. All those in favor, raise your hands. All those opposed? One, two, three, 4, 6. All right, that motion fails on a 6-6 vote. Okay. Are there any other amendments on Unit 2507? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended on Unit 2507, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please. Senator Grew? Okay, sure. We are ready to begin, coming back from recess. I think did we vote on 2507? Closing it out?
Mr. Chairman, I believe you need to vote as amended.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 2507 as amended, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 246, Unit 2508, residential mental health.
Are there any amendments, Unit 2508? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 2508, please say aye. All those opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 249, Unit 2509, Residential Substance Abuse.
Are there any amendments to Unit 2509? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, Unit 2509, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 257, Unit 2510, Preschool Services.
Are there any amendments to Unit 2510? Representative Pendergraph?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On page 252, preschool external cost adjustment. Mr. Chairman, I move the governor's recommendation be decreased by 21,268,372.
Is there a second? Second by Representative Smith. Discussion? Senator Grew?
To offer an amendment to the amendment.
Please.
And Don, I'm sorry.
11.
Yeah. I'd like to further amend that we move that number to 11 million.
Okay,
So
so
GovRec minus whatever to get to 11 million. So from the motion was to take 21 million out. My motion is to take it to 11 million. So raise it
10 million, 10 million.
from 9 to 11 to raise it 2 million something.
Okay, so about $10 million.
Mr. Chairman, yes, I believe specifically it would be a reduction of $10,320,834.
Okay, is there a second? Second by Representative Sherwood. Discussion?
Discussion, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Grew?
Yeah, I understand how this, the CCA works with, cumulative numbers from years that we don't raise it. And so it's going from a 9 something to 21 million. And I know that's a tough climb. And I respect the fact that that's a big number and one that we don't have the appetite for. So all I'm trying to do with this amendment is just add the cost of inflation to the previous ECA to recognize costs have gone up, but not do the cumulative increase that the governor's recommendation called for, and ask for your favorable consideration. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Senator Guru's amendment to the amendment, which would reduce the original amendment by 11 million, leaving 10 million as the expense, I'm sorry, the other way around. Reduce the amendment by 10 million, leaving $11 million for an ECA. All those in favor of that amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, back on the original amendment. So now that we've amended the amendment. I guess I'm just trying to think about this. That would make the final number, would it not? I mean,
One, I did read off a slightly incorrect number. We're taking it to 11 million. That is the correct motion. Technically, his amendment to Representative Pendergraft's amendment was adopted, but you still vote on the
you
underlying
need to close it
amendment.
out. Okay, so what you'll be voting on is basically the same thing we just did. The end result would be 11 million. 11 million. The amendment as amendment. All those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion as amended, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Any further amendments to Unit 2510? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 25010 as amended, say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Next unit appears on page 262, Unit 2512, Wyoming Life Resource Center.
Are there any amendments to Unit 2512? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 2512, say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Next unit appears on page 267, Unit 5001, Administration.
Are there any amendments to Unit 5001? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 5001, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 270, Unit 5002, Senior Care.
Are there any amendments to Unit 5002? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 5002, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 273, Unit 5003, Nutritional Services.
Are there any amendments to Unit 5003? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, Unit 5003, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 276, Unit 5004, Title 7, Elder Rights.
Are there any amendments to Unit 5004? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, Unit 5004, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 278, Unit 5005, Senior Volunteer Service Program.
Are there any amendments to Unit 5005? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, Unit 5005, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 280, Unit 5007, Wyoming Senior Services Board.
All those in favor, I'm sorry. Any amendments, 5007? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, Unit 5007, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 284, Unit 5010, Healthcare Licensing and Surveys.
Are there any amendments to Unit 5010? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, Unit 5010, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 288, Unit 5040, Pioneer Home.
Are there any amendments to Unit 5040? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, Unit 5040, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 293, Unit 5050, Veterans Home.
Are there any amendments to Unit 5050? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, Unit 5050, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
The last unit for this agency appears on page 298, Unit 5060, Retirement Center.
Are there any amendments to Unit 5060? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, Unit 5060, say aye.
Aye.
You guys are getting trained. All those opposed? All right, that motion carries. Director.
Mr. Chairman, there was interest in a global amendment on this agency that would restrict or prohibit expenditures for certain types of services being performed with public funds. If there's any interest, this would be the appropriate place to put that.
Okay, is there a motion for an amendment?
Mr. Chairman,
Pendergraft.
our objective here is that the two services included be sex change and abortion, and that no state funds be used for either of those purposes.
Is there a second? Second by Representative Harrelson. Discussion? Seeing none, all those.
Chairman, a little
Yep,
bit.
Senator Driscoll.
No provisions for mother's health or anything, just straight out prohibition. Is this what we're asking for?
I think that's the way the motion was set, but Representative Pendergraft.
No, sir, no provisions.
Further discussion? All right, all those in favor of Representative Pendergraft's motion, please say aye. All those opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, motion carries. Are there any other amendments to the entire agency? Seeing none, Ms. Childers, would you please take the roll on agency 048 as amended, and this is the Department of Health.
Mr. Chairman,
Good.
Director Hibbard.
I apologize. I just didn't hear that there's an effective immediate for tobacco funds on Unit 2507. If I missed that, I apologize.
Director Richards. All right, I will entertain a motion for a global, well, it goes into a particular unit. What is the unit?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, you adopted that. I believe it
Okay.
was a Representative Sherwood motion.
I'm getting ahead of myself too. I should remember that, but didn't. All right. Any further discussion before we close out this agency? Pretty big agency. All right. Ms. Childers, will you please take the roll call on Unit 048, Department of Health, as amended?
Roll call vote, agency 048 as amended. Senator Driscoll.
Aye.
Senator French.
Aye.
Senator Guru.
Aye.
Senator Larson.
Aye.
Representative Alaman.
Aye.
Representative Angelos.
Aye.
Representative Haroldson.
Aye.
Representative Pendergraft.
Aye.
Representative Sherwood.
Aye.
Representative Smith.
Aye.
Co-chairman Salazar.
Aye.
Chairman Bear.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, 12 aye.
Agency 048, Department of Health is closed. We are going to take a 10-minute break. Good work. Okay, we are returning from recess. Director Richards, if you please take us to the next agency.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Senator Grew.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Going on our 24-hour rule. Yesterday, as you all recall, we passed a motion to zero out the gov's rec on pay increases across the enterprise. And I brought up on July 1st, new insurance rates are going to come out, and that would cause employee paychecks to go down. So there'd be a reduction. And so I asked at that point if I could be allowed to get numbers from A&I. And so I've gotten those numbers now. And so what I'd like to do is, I think I have to make a motion to reopen section, A&I section, which is
6006.
can I move at this time to reopen section 006?
Okay, agency 006, seconded by Sherwood. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Senator Grew's motion to open agency 006, reopen agency 006, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So to make it to cause, or to make it so the payroll paychecks and what take-home pay won't go down by 6% across the enterprise, to take up that insurance number that, and I want to make sure here, this is for 1 year. And this is, let's see, this includes all state employees, including UW, and then I'll ask Director Hibbard to further discuss that in just a second. But the number is $14,743,852 out of the general fund. That's to cover the employee share of the insurance rate adjustment that will happen July 1st.
Okay.
Is that correct, Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I understand it, that calculus is predicated upon the executive branch, the community colleges, University of Wyoming, the judicial branch, and the commissions.
Okay.
And that's the 40%, or excuse me, the 60% share. Remember yesterday that I was talking about the rule of thumb is 60% general fund, 40% federal and other combined. Basically it's 20% federal and 20% other. So I would suggest a footnote to say, if you approve that $14 million in general fund, to have the footnote say this applies to the agency's federal and special revenue as well.
Okay.
So I'd
I
like
think we'll
to
go
add
ahead
that.
and vote on the motion first, see how it plays out. And then we can do the footnote if it passes. Director Richards, what unit would this be in?
Mr. Chairman, probably Agency 6, Unit 3501 on page 121.
Okay, for the public and members, page 121 in agency 006, unit 3501. Are there any amendments on unit 3501? You want to go ahead and make it?
Okay, yes. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move to amend from our motion yesterday.
Governor's rec
That was rec to
increase.
To increase it $14,743,852 for, out of general fund to compensate for the insurance increase, the employee share of the insurance rate increase.
Okay. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Driscoll. Discussion?
Mr. Chairman, a
Representative
friendly amendment to the amendment to also include in that footnote that if the pay table go up to that 2024 number, that then this becomes invalid.
Yes, so I consider that a friendly amendment. So if we do change the pay tables,
Yeah, that would be
this
on the
go
footnote.
away.
Okay, further discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of Senator Grew's motion to increase unit 3501 by $14,743,852, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? No. Okay, let's see hands. All those in favor, raise your hands. Okay, That is going to fail. All those opposed? Okay, fails. All right, and so probably no need for the footnote. Are there any other amendments to Unit 3501 in Agency 6?
Then I
Senator
would move
Group?
to close section 006.
Okay. All those in favor of Governor's Rec? I think we don't have any other amendments from before, do we? Governor's Rec, Unit 3501, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay.
As amended.
That carries. Do we need to close Agency 6 again?
Mr. Chairman, I was taking that last motion to be.
Yeah, because we didn't change anything, so we had a roll call with it as is. We're good on keeping that closed then from here on out. Okay, so
Mr. Chairman.
Agency 6 remains closed. Senator Grew?
I do have one more, on that's not in that same vein, but on the same 24-hour rule.
Okay.
Don, I want to, what agency,
21, Department of Audit.
yeah, I'd like to move to reopen Agent 21, Department of Audit.
Second by Sherwood. Do you want to describe your reason for opening it?
Okay,
Or
yeah.
did everybody know?
Yep, I'll let everybody know. Yes, this is from the special funds account. So this is their own funds in the Division of Banking. We had 3 FTEs for the trust division to do audits. And the bottom line is here, I got a lot of calls last night from a lot of bankers around the state, not just Jackson, but mostly from my town. But we, in the last few years, have made it very, very advantageous and very, very profitable for the state and business to have trust rules and trust statutes that are very, very advantageous to that industry. And that industry has grown and proliferated. They want to use their own funds to add those 3 FTEs, not state funds, their own funds to do that. And they were informing me last night that if they're not allowed to do that, it is going to seriously curtail their business because people won't be able to get their the audits done and then get their certificates to be able to continue to work. So it's going to slow down a very big piece of business that is happening in this state and that is profitable for this state. And so in light of that, I would like to put those 3 FTEs back. That's why I'm asking to open this account, and that's the motion I will make if you reopen this account.
Okay. And Director Hibbert, I think yesterday you said that this could be B11 by the agency if they got into a situation where they needed it. Is that accurate?
Mr. Chairman, I would put a caveat on that. We are very, very careful if you deny a request to override your recommendation with the B11. Not to say that it wouldn't happen, but we do express extreme caution on that.
So that would, just to clarify, it'd really be needed, considered to be an emergency. We've got to have these auditors.
Mr. Chairman, yes.
Okay, so I think there's an argument to be made there that this is the agency's opportunity to make sure if it's really going to inhibit business, they can do something about that. So, all right, any further discussion on opening agency? I think it was 021. 021.
Mr. Chairman.
Director Hibbert?
The other thing, thank you. There's an aspect of the positions. They're asking for FTEs here. The governor does not have authority to create an FTE. So most likely we try to scavenge naturally. And then if that wasn't successful, we would do an at-will contract employee like we discussed previous budget and then seek approval for those FTEs in the next iteration of the budget. But there is a restraint on the governor's ability to add positions.
Understood. One of the things I like about this, I don't like B11s. It takes a little bit of legislative oversight away. One thing it does do, it puts constraints on how we manage to where the executive really has to make sure this is a necessity before action is taken. So just want to make that point. Any further discussion before we vote on opening agency 21? Senator Grew?
just one thing, I just want to make sure everybody realizes that they do listen to what we do up here. And if we say no to those FTEs, yes, they can B11 them, but then they know that they're going to be B11ing something that we voted against. And they, you know, as much as we like to think they don't, they actually do listen to us, and they would probably be, you know, they would think twice about doing it because they know that we voted no on it, and that may come back to bite them later, as we say. So that's the reason why I asked now, because they felt like they were getting the door shut, and, you know, especially these guys, they're in a different budget. So
Thank you.
on them for.
All right, further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of Senator Guru's motion to reopen Agency 021, Department of Audit, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, let's see a show of hands since people didn't verbally. All those in favor of opening? Okay, all those opposed? Okay, motion fails. Any further motions? Senator Guru? Okay, anyone else? All right, so we are back on next agency, Director Richards.
Mr. Chairman, the next agency for the committee's consideration is Agency 49, the Department of Family Services. It is comprised of 13 units. The first unit appears on page 20, Unit 5701, Utilities, Assistance, and Weatherization.
Okay, are there any, I'm sorry, which unit did you call out?
Yes, it's Unit 5701 on page 20, Utilities, Assistance, and Weatherization.
Are there any amendments on Unit 5701, Agency 49? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 5701, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 25, Unit 5801, Boys School, Warland.
Are there any amendments on Unit 5801? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 5801, please say aye. Aye. I need a little bit more enthusiasm, people. All right, all those opposed? That motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 29, Unit 5802, Girls School, Sheridan.
Are there any amendments on Unit 5802? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 5802, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 39, Unit 5901, Administration and Support.
Are there any amendments on Unit 5901?
Mr. Chairman?
Representative Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move, Unit 5901, IT Systems Modernization License and Product Support, a reduction in general funds for $3,145,000 and in federal funds, $555,000.
Okay, is there a second? Second by Representative Allemand. Discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Representative Sherwood?
Thank you. Just again for the public, if the bringer of the motion could explain what this reduction would do, what the IT system provides. Thank you.
Representative Smith?
Thank you. I just think they're doing a great job as they are.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Sherwood?
Thank you. Again, just for the public's benefit, reading through the justification for this request, the department lets us know that without this funding, the systems that they rely on in terms of Salesforce will experience interruptions, including impacts to payments for services to community providers, vulnerable populations, and government partners. So the modernization efforts here that have increased efficiencies and created savings would cease. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Smith's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Any other amendments on Unit 5901? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended, Unit 5901, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Okay. Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 42, Unit 5903, Crisis Shelter Services.
Are there any amendments to Unit 5903? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 5903, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 54, Unit 5904, Protective Services and Juvenile Justice.
Are there any amendments? Unit 5904. Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes. Go ahead, Director.
there was some discussion, I believe, during the hearing to include a footnote that would align the Social Security survivor benefits to district or to direct foster youth. In other words, there is a new Social Security guideline that requires the state not expend funds from survivor benefits, but rather they go to the benefit of the foster child.
So this is something that the U.S. Department of Health and the Trump administration made public, that there were 39 states that were using these funds in a way other than what they were intended for. Wyoming is one of those states. So that's what we're addressing here. Is there a motion? Representative Angelos?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move that motion described by Director Richards.
Okay, motion's been moved, second by Representative Smith. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, all those in favor of Representative Angelos's motion to add a footnote to ensure that survivor benefits for foster children are given to the foster children, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Are there any other amendments on Unit 5904? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation as amended, Unit 5904, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
One moment, Mr. Chairman.
By the way, I'll just mention while we're waiting that the department did say that they'd gotten the message they were going to make that change. So we're just putting a footnote in for the next biennium that we expect that with these funds.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there was interest at one point by the committee on this unit 5904 in the growth of their out-of-state travel and the expenditures there.
Okay, out-of-state travel. Is there an amendment to the out-of-state travel? Go ahead and allow this unit to be opened up. Representative Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would make a motion to reduce the governor's recommendation in out-of-state travel by $101,234,000.
Okay, is there a second? I'm sorry, who gave the second? Representative Angelos. Discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Representative Harrelson?
just wondering if we could get a page number for this.
Mr. Chairman, I believe the page number is 53. It is not an exception request. As I understand it, it is in the base budget. And with the permission of the sponsor, it is not split out in the table between general funds and federal funds, but this unit does have a cost share, and permission to apply that cost share. We'll have to calculate that.
So
Permission granted.
this is the 101,000 in the motion includes both federal funds and state funds.
We're seeking clarification on that. We understood it included both and that we would split the funding consistent. We believe it is $63,813 general fund, $4,877 federal funds, and $32,544 special revenue.
Director Hibbert?
Mr. Chairman, just as an explanation, there are children that are in other states that are under our management care. And that's driving the out-of-state funds for this unit. Thank you.
Okay, and how much, what percentage of the entire out-of-state travel budget would this be? And while we're waiting, can either Director Hibbert or Director Richards explain? First of all, you said that there was federal funds support for this. What are the special funds not familiar with what the Department of Family Services might collect for other revenue.
Mr. Chairman, the detail of that is on page 54. You can see the breakout of the special revenue. In this case, for example, the department has file search fee, SAG. Those are federal funds, excuse me, file search fees.
Would this be like, for instance, some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? A divorce decree, child. What's the word I'm looking for? When you have in a divorce decree, when you have to take care of the family financially, when you have a divorce. Yeah, okay, we'll take a timeout. And, what's that? Child support. That's the word. I couldn't come up with that. Director Hibbert?
Mr. Chairman, got some help from a friend. Thank you, Director Corin Smith. The special revenue is the central register.
Okay.
And then, Mr. Chairman, on the statistics, what your amendment would be a 31% decrease in the out-of-state travel. And then just based upon the funds distribution, it would be 55% federal, 45% state special.
Okay. Representative Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I wish to withdraw that amendment.
Okay, without objection, that motion has been withdrawn. Okay. And I think that was 5904, which we've already voted and closed. Motion to amend again has been withdrawn. Director, what is our next unit?
Next unit appears on page 61, Unit 5908, Wyoming Children's Trust Fund.
Are there any amendments to Unit 5908? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 5908, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 69, Unit 5910, Food Security.
Are there any amendments to Unit 5910? Senator Larson.
I move to lower the governor's recommended or request by $3,473,360.
I believe this is page 64.
Yes.
And this is for the training, education portion of SNAP? All right, is there a second? Second by Representative Smith. Any discussion? Senator French?
No.
Okay.
Second, sorry.
All right, seeing none. All those in favor of Senator Larson's motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No,
Motion carries. Are there any other amendments to Unit 5910?
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Larson?
on page 65, I think, on the Sunbox, I moved to lower the governor's recommendation by $1,767,024, both general fund and federal funds.
Okay, equal amounts of general fund and federal funds. Second by Representative Smith. Discussion? Okay. We will take a 5-minute recess.
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Larson,
I would like to amend my motion to include the one FTE, so it'd be minus one FTE.
okay, looks like that FTE is funded in general funds as well. Director Hibbard?
Mr. Chairman, I do not believe I can look my boss in the face if I did not go on a record to express how important this is for our children, nutrition during the summertime. This is a highly important program. Appreciate you supporting the governor's recommendation.
Okay, and I think, well, Representative Sherwood first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just because this is a new program for Wyoming, again, for the benefit of the public, we're talking about Sunbucks. So this is a summer EBT program. It provides $120 per child per summer to reduce food insecurity and to provide improved children health and learning outcomes. So we know that if a child is hungry, they struggle to learn, and then we see behavioral issues come out. This program, if enacted, would serve over 30,000 of our eligible school-age children in the state. So they rely on those school meals during the academic year, but when school is out of session, they start to fall through the cracks. So this would be a hand-up program to make sure that those children are also taken care of during the summer. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Larson?
Yes, I just want to clarify, there is a summer lunch program through the Department of Ed, and in my community, it works very well.
Okay.
So there are
All right,
places to go.
all right, Representative Pendergraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is yet one more example of mission creep. It wasn't that long ago when schools did not offer lunches. Then they began to offer lunches. Then they began to offer breakfast. And now we're continuing that into the summer. And one of the issues that comes into play is it becomes very easy as a parent who is struggling there a little bit, or maybe working a couple jobs, and I'm sympathetic to that, to simply say, well, I don't have to go to the effort to feed my child. I can simply allow them to take advantage of this. And what happens is the state becomes the provider. And the danger is eventually the state has an issue and the state can't do this any longer. And where are you then? Ultimately, this responsibility is with the parents. And ultimately, that responsibility with the parents can also be met by any number of organizations out there. Food Lockers help. It is out there overwhelmingly. And I just feel this is a way of just continually expanding the role of government in the everyday lives of our people. And I see that as wrong.
Senator Groove?
Yeah, I just had a question. I didn't know that the Department of Education was funding a school lunch program in the summertime. Matter of fact, I thought it was the exact opposite. Okay, thanks. Glad to know.
Question answered. Senator? Okay, Representative Alaman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In my communities, there's food banks. Once a week, there's all the food there. There's usually food left over each week. And many people do come and get food there. And it should be all that's necessary since there's food left over each week. Thank you.
Representative Sherwood?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just for the public, again, we're talking about the Sunbucks program. And in terms of the Department of Education, they do offer summer youth what they call feeding sites. You can go to wyomingfoodcoalition.org, and there's a website that shows where those feeding sites are. So for example, there is one in Casper, but not in Bar None. And so a lot of our smaller communities, including Glen Rock, Glendo, Chugwater, do not have these sites. And so if you are a student living in a community that does not have a feeding site, this option does not exist. And so the Sunbucks program, again, keeps those kids from falling through the cracks in our smaller communities that don't have feeding sites in the summer. Thank you.
Okay, Further discussion? Representative Haroldson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So two things. One, if you followed kind of my history at all, making sure people are full is something I'm really passionate about. Making sure people have been fed is something I'm really passionate about. And we've had conversations in public testimony. We had a lot of conversations over a comment or a series of comments that maybe mental health is something the church should be a part of helping fix that problem. And I think that we can go into this realm as well. So in a prior life, as chairman of the Ministerial Association in Platte County, we put together a Food for Weekends backpack program. Our amazing first lady has actually helped support that. One of the things that I find incredibly interesting about it is this: we have never taken any government funds, and we are currently at a point where we continue to outpace our giving with our income at an extremely high rate. We now get the opportunity where we buy gift cards for these kids for Christmas, where parents can give kids Christmas presents that maybe can't afford it. And you might go, well, that doesn't really matter. Well, if you're the kid on Christmas morning with nothing under the tree, that does matter. And you might sit there and go, well, that's not the role of government. You're right, because we're not government. These are pastors that care about kids in their community. And what we've done is we've extended that into the summer. Why? Because we don't want kids hungry in the summer either. And you might sit there and go, well, that's amazing, but that isn't in bar none. Okay, well, then I'm going to challenge in bar none. Let's make some of this stuff reality. I know for a fact that when people come to me and say, hey, would you help support hungry kids? I will pull my checkbook out. I always do. And I guarantee you those listening would do that as well. And so the struggle that we have is the threshold for this is low. The net that's going to be thrown is going to overextend. And this is what happens. You get a card, a debit card in essence, that opens up the freedom to go and purchase food. Well, that sounds so amazing, but I'll tell you right now, we have a generation that desperately needs to understand that the government's not going to fix the problems, because we can't sustainably do that. And so, do I want to feed kids? Yes. Do I think this concept is an amazing concept? Yeah. But I think that the problem is if we're not careful, what we create through the intention of fixing the problem is greater problems. And that greater problem comes 20, 30, 40 years down the road when we've created a generation that says, hey, if you need food, the government will give it to you. If you need good housing, the government will pay for that. And so I think that my challenge to everyone listening is to be like an amazing woman in our community who said, I see a need and I'm going to fulfill that need. And next thing you know, we have a backpack program where we are feeding families every single week in a very systematic, designed way where we identify hungry families and we feed hungry children. And I am behind it. I will support it financially. If it ever gets to a point where it needs more money, I'll personally be a part of making sure there's more money in it. And so I think that is our place as the state, is to come together and do that. And you might sit there and go, oh, it's too big to take care of on a church side. You guys, it isn't. We don't have that big of a state. If there's one area we certainly can take care of, it's this one. And so I definitely hear the heart behind it, and I hear the heart of our governor and the first lady behind this, and I respect that immensely. But I also know this: if we can't identify the needs in our community personally, then we need to start doing our job better.
Senator Driscoll? Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Senator Larson's motion, please say aye. All those opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Are there any other amendments to Unit 5910? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation 5910 as amended, say aye. All those opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Next unit appears on page 74, Unit 5911, Child Support.
Are there any amendments to Unit 5911? Just realized I said 911. Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 5911, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 78, Unit 5912, Child Care.
Are there any amendments to Unit 5912? And any amendments to Unit 5912? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 5912, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 83, Unit 5913, TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families.
Could you say that again, what the name of that unit?
Yes, the name is Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, TANF.
Okay, any amendments to Unit 5913? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 5913, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 91, Unit 5915, Local Services. Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Director.
as a point, I think this, if you support the increased administrative fees for the SNAP program, a footnote would be in order to move the next biennium's amount to $6.8 million. This biennium is only funding for 21 months. It's on a federal fiscal year. So it would be appropriate if you support the governor's rec to make the next biennium 24 months. There's
Okay.
no cost this biennium.
Okay. Are there any amendments on Unit 5915? Representative Pendergraph has moved the footnote as described by Director Richards to ensure that this is going to match up with the next biennium and the U.S. government's fiscal cycle. Representative Haroldson. Second? Okay, second by Haroldson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Pendergraph's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Are there any other amendments, Unit 5915? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended, Unit 5915, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Next unit for your consideration appears on page 93, the last unit of the agency, Unit 5916, Tribes.
I'm sorry, the name got interrupted by a cough there.
Apologies. 5916, Tribes.
Tribes, okay. Is there any amendments to Unit 5916? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 5916, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Ms. Childress, would you please take the roll on Agency 049, Department of Family Services, as amended?
Roll call vote, Agency 049 as amended. Senator Driscoll.
Aye.
Senator French.
Aye.
Senator Guru.
Aye.
Senator Larson.
Aye.
Representative Alaman.
Aye.
Representative Angelos.
Aye.
Representative Haroldson.
Aye.
Representative Pendergraft.
Aye.
Representative Sherwood.
Aye.
Representative Smith.
Aye.
Co-Chairman Salazar.
Aye.
Chairman Bear.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, 12 aye.
Agency 049, Department of Family Services is closed. Director Richards, please take us to the next agency.
The next agency is the Agency 51 Livestock Board. It is comprised of 12 units. The first unit appears on page 19, Unit 101, Administration.
Okay. Are there any amendments to Unit 101? Representative Alaman.
This is not on 101. This has no page number or it is procurement. Okay, I'm sorry, sir. I move an amendment for the purchase and distribution of Wyoming identification metal ear tags of $300,000, one time only.
Okay, so this will be for the initial purchase of metal ear tags. It'll be a Wyoming ear tag to get us in line with our statute passed in 2021 to give choice to producers. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Representative Smith. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Alaman's motion to increase the account by the governor's recommendation for the account by $300,000, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Are there any other global motions on the Livestock Board, Agency 51? Representative Alaman.
Mr. Chairman, again, there is no page number. Mr. Chairman, I move to approve governor's recommendation from letter number 2 for the addition of one new vet for $368,960, and that is ongoing, and also $131,040 for unknown disease outbreak, mainly the New World screwworm. and that is one time.
So a total of $500,000 for governor's letter number 2,
Second.
second by Sherwood. Discussion. Representative Haroldson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just a clarifier, maybe this is for our good directors. Would that be general funds, ongoing general funds for that FTE?
Director.
Mr. Chairman, as I understand the motion, it was ongoing for the FTE and one time for the support.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have a reduction in federal funding for this agency for veterinarians. We're replacing a government reduction at the federal level with one veterinarian in this agency with this vote. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Alman's amendment to increase funding by $500,000, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other amendments globally? Seeing none, are there any amendments to Unit 101? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 101, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 21, Unit 103, Information Technology.
Are there any amendments to Unit 103? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 103, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 27, Unit 201, Animal Health.
Are there any amendments to Unit 201? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 201, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 33, Unit 205, Law Enforcement.
Are there any amendments to Unit 205? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 205, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 36, Unit 301, Lab Tech 1, brucellosis.
Are there any amendments to Unit 301? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 301, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 38, Unit 302, brucellosis travel.
Are there any amendments to Unit 302? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 302, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 42, Unit 303, brucellosis testing.
Are there any amendments to Unit 303? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 303, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 45, Unit 440, avian health.
Are there any amendments to Unit 440? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 440, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 47, Unit 442, equine, cervid, and small ruminants.
Are there any amendments to Unit 442? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 442, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 50, Unit 601, estrays.
601, that was, Director?
Correct.
All those, are there any amendments to Unit 601? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 601, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 62, Unit 701, brand inspection.
Are there any amendments to Unit 701? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 701, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on, and the last unit appears on page 65, Unit 801, predator control fees.
Are there any amendments to Unit 801? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 801, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Childers, would you please take the
Mr.
roll?
Chairman,
Go ahead, Director.
there was a discussion of a more global motion regarding decreases to this agency.
Yeah, I opened it up for a motion to be made, and that motion was not brought.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Ms. Childers, would you please take the roll on Agency 051 Livestock Board?
Roll call vote, Agency 051 as amended, Senator Driscoll.
Aye.
Senator French.
Aye.
Senator Guru.
Aye.
Senator Larson. Representative Alman.
Aye.
Representative Angelos.
Aye.
Representative Haroldson.
Aye.
Representative Pendergraft.
Aye.
Representative Sherwood.
Aye.
Representative Smith.
Aye.
Co-Chairman Salazar. Chairman Bear.
No.
Mr. Chairman, 11 aye, 1 no.
Agency 051 is closed. That's the Livestock Board. I'm going to explain my no vote just briefly. This agency, when they were before us, I made it really clear that they were not following statute. I still believe they're not following statute. We passed laws in the legislature. That happened in 2021. Producers still do not have a choice. We funded the tags today to provide choice. But I do, and I hope all of my colleagues do, expect agencies to follow statutes when they're passed, even if we don't give enough specificity as to what they're supposed to do, that they should follow the will of the legislature. So I just wanted to explain that vote. I don't believe this agency has been following that law to the extent of the intent of the legislature. Thank you. Director, next agency, please.
The next agency for your consideration is Agency 53, the Department of Workforce Services.
Okay, first unit, please.
This agency consists of 14 units. The first unit appears on page 18, Unit 101, Office of the Director.
Are there any amendments to Unit 101? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 101, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none, motion carries.
The
Next
next
unit.
page is 24, Unit 110, Policy, Research, and Communications.
Are there any amendments to Unit 110? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 110, please say aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 32, Unit 125, Business Training and Support.
Are there any amendments to Unit 125?
Mr. Chairman.
Representative Sherwood?
Thank you so much. Committee, I had dabbled with the idea of a footnote here, but at this point, it's just an idea that I'd like to plant, and I think we'll circle back to this conversation later on with higher ed. This is the Workforce Development Training Fund. Right now, an employer can apply to pay an hourly rate for an internship. I really want to make sure that we're empowering our students to also utilize these funds. And so just planting the seed for, if there's a student that wants to do an internship or an apprenticeship with a local manufacturer interested in CTE, that student could start the application process to utilize these funds and then go to that employer and say, hey, will you take me on as an apprentice? I already have a grant that will pay your time in training me. So just wanted to plant that seed. Mr. Chairman, thank you for that indulgence.
All right, please, seed planted. Are there any amendments to Unit 125? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Miss-
Go ahead, Director. Okay, we'll go forward. All those in favor of Governor's recommendation on Unit 125, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Next unit appears on page 38, Unit 135, Wyoming Quality Counts.
Are there any amendments to Unit 135? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 135, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 48, Unit 150, Employment and Training.
Are there any amendments to Unit 150? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 150, please say aye.
Mr.
Those
Chairman.
opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Martineau?
Mr. Chairman, I apologize that I wasn't fast enough on this unit. On page 48, the agency had requested that JAC consider removing the $900,000 federal funds in the 2 FTE due to a decrease in that federal grant that they had received. And I think that someone had mentioned they were interested in that, but I was unsure if that's the case.
Yeah, I need a little bit better explanation. I had a hard time hearing you. Sorry. Cold brain.
Apologies, I wasn't close enough to the mic. Mr. Chairman, on page 48, it looks like there is a request from the agency to go ahead and during their hearings, I might be getting sick as well, to consider removing that $900,000 federal funds and those 2 FTE from Unit 150. They had a decrease in this specific grant, and so they had indicated that they might not need that. And so the committee had asked us to remind them of that.
Co-Chair? Representative Sherwood?
Mr. Chairman, I do believe we have a letter at the top of our current day inbox on this program. And then it is a request from the agency. I think it's just considered a budget cleanup to reduce that 900,000 in federal funds from unit 150-0150. And this was for an elimination of a program.
So is that a motion?
I would make that a motion.
Okay, is there a second? Second by Senator Grew. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor of Representative Sherwood's motion, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Is there any other discussion or amendments on unit 150? Seeing none, we're going to re-vote on 150 as amended. All those in favor of Governor's recommendation, unit 150 as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 55, unit 190, state mine inspector.
Any amendments to unit 190? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, unit 190, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 58, unit 191, mining exams.
Any amendments to unit 191?
Mr. Chairman,
Representative Sherwood?
on the table on page 58, under supportive services, did we have a correction on the table? Or was it just my notes here? From that 31,500 to 11,984, so that it would align with the mining exam special revenue?
Director Hibbard?
Mr. Chairman, I believe that you're discussing the special revenue table.
Representative Sherwood?
And I apologize, this is what happens when I make notes incompletely on my sheet. I had just flagged it for myself in terms of that support services code 200. Just wanting verification that that number, that 31,500 is correct.
Mr. Chairman, it is, and it's associated with the revenue table calculation, which is not on the table that you're voting on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Any further discussion or amendments on unit 191? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, unit 191, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 76, unit 201, vocational rehabilitation.
Are there any amendments to unit 201? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, unit 201, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 85, unit 301, unemployment insurance administration.
Are there any amendments to unit 301? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, unit 301, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 89, unit 340, unemployment insurance, unemployment security revenue fund.
Are there any amendments to unit 340? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, unit 340, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 97, unit 401, labor standards.
Are there any amendments to unit 401? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, unit 401, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 111, unit 501, workers' compensation and OSHA. Mr. Chairman,
Director?
this one does likely require a footnote. If you look on page 110, the 21,000 coded as 241 should be coded as 235 supplies rather than office equipment and furnishings, which is one time. So a footnote would be in order if you wish to move $21,000 into supplies rather than office equipment.
Representative Sherwood?
I would make that motion, and just to clarify, that makes those funds one time. Thank you.
Seconded by Senator Larson. Discussion?
Mr. Chairman, it's
Director?
the other way around. It makes them ongoing.
Makes them ongoing. Okay. It's going to be ongoing. Go ahead. Go ahead. Say that again. We're going to just describe it as ongoing rather than one time. Did you want to withdraw your second? Okay, we're still seconded. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor of Representative Sherwood's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Are there any other amendments to unit 501? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended in unit 501, please say aye. All those opposed, Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 118, the last unit, Unit 601, Disability Determination Services.
Are there any amendments? Unit 601. Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, unit 601, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Childress, would you please take the roll call to close out Agency 053, Department of Workforce Services as amended?
Roll call vote, Agency 053 as amended, Senator Driscoll.
Aye.
Senator French.
Aye.
Senator Garu.
Aye.
Senator Larson.
Aye.
Representative Alaman.
Aye.
Representative Angelos.
Aye.
Representative Haroldson.
Aye.
Representative Pendergraft.
Aye.
Representative Sherwood.
Aye.
Representative Smith.
Aye.
Co-Chairman Salazar.
Aye.
Chairman Bear.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, 12 aye.
Agency 053, Department of Workforce Services is closed. I do appreciate the enthusiasm we're getting from the senators here, jumping on this, getting their votes out as quickly as possible. All right, next agency, please.
The next agency for your consideration is Agency 55, the Oil and Gas Commission. There, it is comprised of 3 units. The first unit appears on page 24, Unit 101. And Mr. Chairman, once again, we have a footnote necessary, or this is a policy choice. The sole exception request, which appears on page 24, is for $349,000. And the purpose of this is to set up a capital outlay revolving fund. As coded, this would be a one-time expense. I think this came as a request of the prior JAC for this building to be self-supported for its major maintenance rather than supported by general funds. And there's a question whether or not this should be ongoing using their own funds or one time using their own funds.
And the intent would be that they'd come back if they use the funds to go ahead and request additional replacement funds for those.
Yes.
Okay. And if it were ongoing, we'd continue to put $316,000 every biennium into this account.
Correct.
Okay. Everybody understand that? Any questions? Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman.
Representative Haroldson.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the footnote as described by our staff.
So you would suggest that it be one time,
Correct.
$316,000 this one time and not be ongoing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Senator Larson. Discussion? I'll just add a comment. I think this is the proper way to do this. Rather than having an ongoing, ever expanding account. We don't even know really what the expenditure is going to be out of this account. So let's let the agency bring it back to us in the future if they need this refilled up. Okay, good motion. All right, all those in favor of Representative Harrelson's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other amendments on Unit 101? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended, Unit 101, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 29, Unit 106, UIC program.
Are there any amendments to Unit 106? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 106, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
The last unit for your consideration appears on page 34, Unit 202, oil and gas bond forfeitures.
Are there any amendments to Unit 202? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 202, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Childress, would you please take the roll on Agency 055, Oil and Gas Commission as amended?
Roll call vote, Agency 055 as amended, Senator Driscoll.
Aye.
Senator French. Senator Garu.
Aye.
Senator Larson.
Aye.
Representative Alaman.
Aye.
Representative Angelos.
Aye.
Representative Haroldson.
Aye.
Representative Pendergraft.
Aye.
Representative Sherwood.
Aye.
Representative Smith.
Aye.
Co-Chairman Salazar. Chairman Bear.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, 12 aye.
Agency 055, Oil and Gas Commission is closed. Director Richards, would you please take us to the next agency?
Mr. Chairman, the next agency is Agency 57, the Community College Commission. It is comprised of 14 units. The first unit appears on page 33, Unit 101, administration.
All right. Are there any amendments to Unit 101? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation? Oh, Director Richards.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a motion I'd like to make. I'm just not 100% sure what unit it would appear in. So
Okay.
with the committee's indulgence, I can either pause or continue.
Please describe your amendment so that the director can help us with the unit that should be going in.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that support. So I move to increase the state aid for community colleges by $750,450 general fund. This would be for a 2-year pilot program to support tuition for dual enrollment credits offered through community colleges. Preference would be to colleges currently offering dual enrollment programs to students who are not benefiting from any school district's agreement as provided in statute 21-20-201. After the duration of the 2-year pilot, any of these unspent funds would revert back to the general fund. And the outline in terms of direction to the community colleges is that they would advertise this program, they would track the expenses, outcomes, and include a request for continued funding or program modification in the next budget request.
Okay, so this would be a one-time for the biennium fund. Is there a second? Second by Senator Guru. Any discussion? Senator Guru? Okay. Representative Smith?
Mr. Chairman, just a clarification, it was for 750, is that correct, or?
Representative Sherwood?
$750,450.
Thank you.
Okay. Representative Smith?
Thank you. I just have a question for the bringer in regards to the students that are not currently enrolled with their school district and the community college. So is this for more like homeschool students?
Representative Sherwood?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, this program would be available to homeschool students, students who are not in public school or in some other private school, but also in addition to students who are in public schools. Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Representative Harrelson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just another question. So I guess the background on this puts this $750,000 in as a one-time expenditure. Is this something that they've already got in the works, or is this to prop up a completely new funding design? Can you kind of explain, just get a little bit further back on that if you could?
Representative Sherwood?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the questions and for the indulgence here. So dual enrollment is one of these, I'll call it magical programs, where if you're a high school student and you are ambitious and you want to take college classes, you can do that through your community college. You can even do it through the University of Wyoming. And typically those are covered, paid. So some communities offer those free with an endless amount of credit hours. Some communities with maybe less financial resources will cap it. So maybe up to 12 hours are free. And then after that, the student or the family is having to pay for it. So these are existing models that are happening. It's allowing our students to complete college courses and graduate early. And then in theory, saving on tuition. But not every community has the ability to cover the cost of this dual enrollment. So this pilot project would allow that to be broadened, really targeted to those homeschool kids, private school kids, and to the communities that aren't able to provide an unlimited number of courses.
Okay. Further discussion? Okay, you've heard the amendment. It's for $750,450 for a dual enrollment program, pilot program for 2 years. All those in favor of Representative Sherwood's motion, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other global motions? Senator Larson?
I'm in Unit 101 on statewide longitudinal education data system contractors. I think they'd asked, commission had asked for some general funds, but to cover some federal grants that they haven't received. I just wondered if we need spending authority if those federal grants come through. Mr. Hibbert, mind help me.
Mr. Chairman, we have a robust process now with sleds. And the governor has given permission for the State Budget Department Grants Management Office to facilitate the sleds, gather all the information, the historical data that how much has been provided, where did it come, where did it go, and all that. And one of the key questions that we had with the community college, was this a necessity for this legislative session, or could we work through and bring it to a supplemental? And the answer to that is we can work through this and go to the supplemental. So when you get to the supplemental budget, you'll have a very concrete process and history of sleds with also strong recommendations about why isn't it being as successful as we would like it to have been. But that's on path right now, and the community college and the state budget department are actively dealing with that.
Senator Larson.
Mr. Chairman, is there needing a footnote for spending authority, or we're okay?
Mr. Chairman, the only aspect of this that we couldn't process if we had federal funds or special revenue, because the B11 instrument would be any request that you'd like to have for general funds. But again, appreciate the conversation, appreciate the concern. But we're in a position now to collaborate to make sleds what it was always supposed to be and bring that to the supplemental budget.
Director, I just want to say we appreciate your trying to keep that expense down and bring the money in when we need it. That is helpful for this committee. We do appreciate that. I will say this, and this has been brought up by my Democrat colleague on the Senate side, that we denied a lot of things in the supplemental budget last year because it was not an emergency expenditure. And this could arguably be determined not an emergency expenditure. So I hope you'll remind us of this conversation if we get into the supplemental budget and that request is made.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. And absolutely, I would expect a full narrative in the supplemental budget about all of the things that we just discussed, and perhaps a request. And maybe that request would be for grant dollars, because we're actively trying to figure out what's going on with the big, beautiful bill with what used to happen. There's a lot of moving parts to that, but we're actively going after this.
And we appreciate that from your agency. Thank you. Okay. Any further discussion globally? I think we had some footnotes that we had discussed globally.
Mr. Chairman.
Representative Harrelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Director, I'd like to look at putting a footnote in, as we're having two conversations here, conversations of CTE on the community college side, as well as conversations of CTE education on the University of Wyoming side. After meeting with both entities, we want to make sure we stay in our right lanes. And so a footnote that the community colleges, their CTE programs, the funding of it as we look at this moving forward, and we're going to be looking at putting some money into that, but where that funding is for a 2-year program, not a 4-year program. So this is not going to go for CTE educators, just for CTE education. And then from there, it'll be a pass off to the University of Wyoming for that education model. And we'll do a footnote in the UW's budget as well in alignment with that. And I'm relying on your amazing knowledge to make that sound right, because I'm sure what I just said didn't.
I think we also wanted to just put sideboards that if we increase the governor's recommendation for CTE funding, that it would be maintained for CTE funding.
Correct.
Within that.
Sorry, and I think that was understood.
Okay. Is there a second? Second by Senator Larson. This is a footnote to just put some sideboards on CTE funding. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Harrelson's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Is there any other global action on Agency 057 Community College Commission? I think we just had a question mark there. So seeing none, let's go into Unit 101. Is there any amendments to 101? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 101, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 38, Unit 201, colleges.
Are there any amendments to Unit 201? Representative Angelos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On Unit 201, page 37, I would like to restore the governor's recommendation to decrease the funding by $500,368. So I'd like to restore that funding. Thank you.
Okay, seconded by Sherwood. Discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Angelos's motion to restore funding, $1.5 million and some change, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Are there any other amendments to Unit 201? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended, Unit 201, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 40, Unit 202, colleges, health insurance.
Any amendments to Unit 202? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 202, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 46, Unit 206, career and technical education.
Are there any amendments to Unit 206? Representative Angelos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to, Unit 3001, page 70,
206.
206, page 44, thank you. I would like to increase, the governor's rec was to deny the $15 million. I would like to restore $7,500,000.
Do I have a second? Second by Senator Driscoll. Discussion? Director?
Mr. Chairman, just maybe a clarification, is this one time or ongoing? You expect it back in the next biennium budget?
Representative Angelos?
I would say this is, can we get a timeout and double check?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take 5 minutes.
I think it needs to be ongoing.
All right, we're going to come back to order. Representative Angelos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Back on, let's make sure we get this right.
Unit 206, the question was, is this an ongoing amendment?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, it is an ongoing amendment.
Okay, this expenditure would be ongoing. Second is still seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Angelos' motion to increase governor's recommend by 7.5 million, please say aye.
Aye.
As opposed, motion carries. Any further amendments on Unit 206? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation as amended, Unit 206, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
The next unit actually is one we skipped. It appears on page 42, Unit 204, library funding.
204, Unit 204. Is there any amendments to Unit 204? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, Unit 204, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 48, Unit 207, retirement distributions.
Are there any amendments to Unit 207? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, Unit 207, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 55, Unit 410, Wyoming Works Program funding. Mr. Chairman, there are two unique aspects of this. If you support the governor's recommendation, this is kind of a double appropriation, meaning general funds will be appropriated to the Wyoming Works Student Grant Account, as well as the Wyoming Works Community College account, and then appropriated from those accounts. That's how it's worked in the past. So it's kind of a two-stage process. It will require a footnote to appropriate funds to the Wyoming Works program and then for the purposes.
Okay, are there any amendments to Unit 4? I'm sorry, we're on 207. Is that correct? Unit
Mr. Chairman, no,
or
410.
410. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Representative Haroldson.
Mr. Chairman, I move that a footnote be placed in section 410 regarding the use of these funds and their where they apply and where they should go, as Director Richard has said.
Okay, was there a second? Second by Senator Guru. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of this footnote to describe the spending for the Wyoming Works Program and the Wyoming Student Grants, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Any other amendments to Unit 410? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation as amended, Unit 410, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Next unit appears on page 60, Unit 901, adult education.
Are there any amendments to Unit 901? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, Unit 901, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 64, Unit 1001, WIN Nursing and Loan and Grant Program.
That was WIN, not no D on there, right?
Correct.
Just make sure we're all clear on there. There's no wind. All right. Are there any amendments to Unit 1001? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, Unit 1001, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
The next unit appears on page 67, Unit 1501, Veterans Tuition Waiver Program.
Are there any amendments to Unit 1501? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, Unit 1501, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 74, Unit 3001, Public Television.
Are there any amendments to Unit 3001?
Mr. Chairman.
Representative Angelos.
Mr. Chairman, on Unit 3001, page 72, I would like to decrease the governor's recommendation by $3 million.
All right, is there a second? Second by Senator Larson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Angelos' motion to decrease by $3 million, Unit 3001, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
No.
Motion carries. Are there any other amendments, Unit 3001? Representative Angelos?
Mr. Chairman. On Unit 3001, page 73, I would like to decrease the governor's rec by $3.6 million.
Okay, is there a second? Second by Representative Smith. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Angelos's motion to reduce Unit 3001, page 73 by 3.6 million, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
All right, motion carries. Are there any other amendments? Unit 3001,
Mr. Chairman,
Director?
just for a clarification, the combination of those two motions leaves $331,081 in the unit. I just wanted to make sure that was the intent rather than some over rounding.
Okay, just to make clear, this unit is not the base budget. I mean,
Mr.
what is the
Chairman, it
base-
is.
Okay,
This is the base budget plus their exception requests. And you took out the exception request in its entirety at 6.6 million.
and so that is the base budget then, $331,081?
Yes.
Okay,
No, they were three.
I was under the impression the base budget was a little higher than that. I don't have that in front of me.
Mr. Chairman,
Page 74, that's the base budget.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, let me, if I could clarify. You've left 3.3 million.
That's what I was thinking, yeah. All right, I think that was the intent, Representative Angelos. She's shaking her head, yes.
Mr. Chairman, yes, this was just for the asked increases in.
Okay, so base
funding.
budget remains 3.3 million. Are there any further amendments on Unit 3001? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended, Unit 3001, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
No.
All right, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 76, Unit 3004, Wyoming Public Television Retirement.
Are there any amendments to Unit 3004? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 3004, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Next unit appears on page 79, Unit 3105, Wyoming Public Television Endowment Interest Fund B11s. And Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
during the testimony of this agency, they noted a sizable increase in their endowment and the expected funds or investment income has grown substantially over the $110,000. In order to avoid a B11, if the committee wanted to include $400,000, which would be a 4% 2-year interest earnings, this would be the place to do so.
Okay, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would make that motion to increase the number to 400,000 on the table on page 79.
Okay, so seconded by, I couldn't see who that was, Senator Guru. All right, so this is a motion to extend spending authority to 400 from 110,000, 400,000 on the foundation account. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Sherwood's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Are there any other amendments on Unit 3105? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation as amended, Unit 3105, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
And the last unit for this agency appears on page 83, Unit 4001, Higher Education Scholarship.
Are there any amendments to Unit 4001? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 4001, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. You said that was the last one of this one. All right, so Ms. Childress, would you please take the roll call on Agency 057 Community College Commission as amended?
Roll call vote, Agency 057 as amended, Senator Driscoll.
Aye.
Senator French.
Aye.
Senator Guru.
Aye.
Senator Larson.
Aye. Plus we gave more.
Representative Allman.
$3,000 more.
Representative Angelos. Representative Haroldson.
Aye.
Representative Pendergraft.
Aye.
Representative Sherwood.
Aye.
Representative Smith.
Aye.
Co-Chairman Salazar. Chairman Bear.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, 12 aye.
Agency 057 Community College Commission is closed. Next agency, please.
Next agency is Agency 60, the Office of State Lands and Investments. It has 19 units. The first unit appears on page 27, Unit 101, Administration and Support.
Are there any amendments to Unit 101? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 101, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Next unit appears on page 43, Unit 102, Trust Land Management.
Are there any amendments to Unit 102? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation on Unit 102, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 51, Unit 103, Clean Water Revolving Fund.
All right, are there any amendments in Unit 103? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 103, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 51, Unit 104, Government Grants and Loans.
Are there any amendments to Unit 104? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 104, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
The next unit appears on page. You're gonna have to take over. Mine's gone. I apologize, my computer's froze.
We're on 105. Mr. Chairman, the next unit for consideration is Unit 105, Field Services.
Are there any amendments to Unit 105? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 105, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Is on page 73. It's Drinking Water Revolving Fund. Unit 131.
Are there any amendments to Unit 131? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 131, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Is on page 75, Unit 166, Forest Service MOU.
Are there any amendments to Unit 166? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 166, please say aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Mr. Chairman, the next unit's on page 84, Unit 201, Forest Service Division. And Mr. Chairman, staff would also note that on page 83, there is a $1 addition on the personnel line that should be removed if that is acceptable. It's
Okay.
a technical correction.
All right. Do I see Senator Grew?
Yes.
Second.
So move the motion.
Okay, the motion is to remove $1 from Unit 201, seconded by Representative Harrelson. Discussion? All right. This is a major slice from Senator Grew, taking $1 out of the governor's recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to work across the aisle there with him.
Appreciate that $1 effort there, both of you. All right, all those in favor of Senator Grew's motion, please say aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other amendments to Unit 201? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation as amended, Unit 201, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
The next unit's on page 91, Unit 301, Emergency Fire Suppression Account. And Mr. Chairman, as a note, if you do adopt the governor's recommendation, this will be a Section 302 borrowing authority, and that would be increased to 30 million according to his recommendation. So we will.
Okay, so not only the expenditure of $20 million, there's also an increase in the spending authority to $30 million. Any amendments? Seeing no amendments on Unit 301, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, Unit 301, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. And next unit, please.
It appears on page 108. It's Unit 401, Fire.
Okay, are there any amendments on Unit 401?
Mr. Chairman.
Representative Harrelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'll have a number of amendments here. As if you give me the leeway real quick to kind of explain and then I'll go in. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So with some of the bills that we've done, we have some duplication in what we're currently doing here in this funding model. So the first amendment would be Unit 401, page 95. And it would be to lower the governor's rec of 184,596 down to zero, and also remove the FTE.
All right, is there a second? Seconded by Senator Larson. All those in favor, oh, I'm sorry, any discussion about that? I just want to make sure we're clear because we have bills that cover these expenditures, individual bills that would be going to the House for debate, that we are just moving these to bills. Is that right? Okay. And any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Harrelson's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
As opposed? Seeing none, that carries. Any other amendments? Unit 401.
Mr. Chairman.
Representative Harrelson?
Mr. Chairman, Unit 401, page 96, it would be to take the governor's rec down by 2,286,727. This would be the wildland fire module 2 of 5, and also remove associated FTEs.
Okay. Second by Senator Guru. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Harrelson's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
As opposed, motion carries. Representative Harrelson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My next would be on Unit 401, page 99. It would be, again, wildland fire module, the 3 of 5, and it would also be a removal of 2,286,727.
Okay, is there a second? Second by Smith.
And before we vote on this, I did have a question for the director on this. If we were to put in a footnote in regards to the bill that we're running. So real quick, we got 2 modules being represented here. We have 1 module being represented in our bill going forward in the House. If for some reason, because we have a 93 opinions in this body, and for some reason something doesn't happen the way we intended, is there any way we could add a footnote in to this where if that bill does not find its way through the process, that this 1 module worth of funding finds its way into the budget? Is that an option?
I would,
Director?
I'd make a recommendation for a friendly amendment that,
And this is a question more.
yeah, I think you should leave the funding in here and then have a footnote that if that passes,
So do it the other
you
direction.
would remove these funds.
Mr. Chairman,
Would you like to read?
then I would like to
revise your
withdraw.
amendment?
I would like to withdraw my my motion, and then I will make another motion.
Okay, withdrawn without objection. Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I would move that on page 99, wildland fire module in Unit 401, that we place a footnote stating that if the current legislation going before the House were to pass, that this would be then removed out of budget.
And is there a second? Second by Representative Angelos. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Harrelson's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
As opposed, motion carries. Representative Harrelson.
Mr. Chairman. Mr.
Director Hibbert.
This is a friendly conversation that when we built the budget, the agency asked for part-time positions. The governor's rec doesn't make it AWAC, but in the tables, we have these as AWACs. So I would recommend that this position that you just took would be for part-time positions so that we wouldn't have any confusion about whether or not the intent was to have part-time positions with retirement versus AWAC that wouldn't. So please consider that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I think that it would be nice to have it to say that what you just approved to be the fallback position from the bills would be for part-time positions.
And I believe that's the way we have it in the bill. Is that right, Director? Okay, part-time in there. Okay. Representative
Mr.
Harrelson.
Chairman, I would ask to add to my prior motion that language would include permanent or part-time positions instead of AWAC positions.
We don't have any permanent employees.
Correct.
Seconded by Sherwood. All right. Any discussion on that addition to the motion for a footnote, addition to the footnote? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Harrelson's motion for part-time designation on these employees, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Representative Harrelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And finally, on Unit 401, page 101, Public Information Office position, it would be reduced governor's recommendation by $195,530.
and one position.
and one position, one FTE.
Okay, is there a second? Seconded by Senator Larson. Any discussion?
Quick question. Also, did you have something?
Mr. Chairman, we'll wait until after this motion to bring up our item.
Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Harrelson's motion, please say aye. All those opposed?
No.
All right, motion carries.
Mr.
Any
Chairman.
other amendments to Unit 401, Representative Harrelson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Unit 401, page 105, it would be the removal of the TRP for those positions that we had just voted on. So it would be a reduction of
Representative
governor's
Harrelson?
rec.
In our global motion on TRP, we stated that if there were any employees removed, that would include removing that. So
Okay.
that motion wouldn't be necessary if you'd like to withdraw it.
Then I'll withdraw that if it is covered by our global motion. Okay,
Okay.
I'm getting the head nod, so I'll remove that. Thank you very much, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
All right, are there any other amendments to Unit 401? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation as, one
Chairman,
moment, please. Director Richards?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, you have four other bills that address this area. One of those bills provided for hazard pay and additional benefits, and it provided a start date of April 1 as opposed to what this bill is July 1. If you wanted to include those benefits, if this is the only vehicle that passes, and make it effective April 1 or effective immediate, I think there is a need for $390,000 if you wanted to make that adjustment in this bill. Right now, the two avenues are a little out of sync.
Okay, do I have an amendment?
Mr. Chairman, I would make that amendment for the committee's consideration.
Okay, is there a second? Second by Gru. Discussion on the amendment? Okay, this makes our, the action in this bill align with our bills on hazard pay, benefits, and start date. Everybody understand that? Okay, no further discussion. All those in favor of Sherwood's amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Are there any further amendments on Unit 401? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 401, as amended, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 116, Unit 50501, Forced Performance Account.
Are there any amendments to Unit 501? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 501, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 121, Unit 0601, Ranch A.
Are there any amendments to Unit 601? Seeing none, all those in favor of Governor's recommendation, Unit 601, please say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 127, Unit 0902, CapCon Appropriations, Mineral Impact, and I believe we have a note that John will explain.
Director Richards?
I believe this is consistent with the governor's recommendation. We don't forecast coal lease bonus payments until the sale actually occurs and the first successful payment is received by the state. But if you wanted to accept the governor's recommendation, I think a footnote would be in order authorizing coal lease bonus funds available only upon a successful auction and first payment receipt.
All right. Are there any amendments? Representative Smith?
Motion the directors, but no.
Okay. As second? Second by Representative Harrelson. So this is a motion to make these funds available upon a coal lease bonus sale and not otherwise. So spending authorization on coal lease bonus funds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Smith's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. And are there any other amendments on Unit 902?
Mr. Chairman, I missed a question on Unit 900.
Okay, we did not bring up unit 900. So please ask your question.
Thank you. I just have a note. So it's a question for staff here on, was the governor recommending moving 4 million from the BRC program in the Business Council to this mineral royalty grant program?
Director?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, it was my understanding that $4 million was moved from 085, the Wyoming Business Council, to the Mineral Royalty Grant Program, specifically to this unit. In the standard budget, it wasn't an exception request.
And do we need to close out unit 900? Because I don't think we did.
No, that it is, pardon me, Mr. Chairman, she's referencing Division 900. We are voting on Unit 902.
Okay, so it's included in 902, I assume then. All right, very good. Any further discussion on unit 902? Any other amendments? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation as amended on unit 902, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
The next unit is on page 132, Unit 201, Federal Forestry Grants,
Can you state that number again?
0201.
You're
It is-
messing with me, getting them out of order here. Messing with my brain. All right, is there any amendments to unit 201? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, unit 0201, please say aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Appears on page 138, Unit 5001, County Equipment. And I do believe we have a footnote that Don will explain, or a staff.
Director
expert.
Richards?
Mr. Chairman, there was discussion during the agency's presentation of modifying their indirect cost rate from 10% to 15%, and that any additional funds received be distributed to the fire protection revolving account, and those below 10% be distributed to the general fund.
Okay. Any discussion? Director Hibbert?
Mr. Chairman, the additional 5% revolving account, the prior 10% as it has previously been distributed.
Okay. So the director was requesting a footnote. Do I have a motion? Representative Harrelson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would ask that we place a footnote as laid out by Director Richards to create this kind of a rollover design with percentage into this revolving fire account.
Is there a second? Second by Representative Smith. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Harrelson's motion, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other amendments to unit 5001? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation as amended, unit 5001, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Is on page 144. It is Unit 5002, Fire.
Are there any amendments to unit 5002? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, unit 5002, please say aye. Aye. And those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit.
Appears on page 150. It is Unit 6001, Good Neighbor Authority.
Are there any amendments to unit 6001? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, unit 6001, please say aye. All those opposed? And that carries. Next motion, or I'm sorry, next unit.
Is on page 156, Unit 6801, Transportation Enterprise Fund.
Are there any amendments to unit 6801? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, unit 6801, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Is on page 162, Unit 9901, Farm Loan Reserve.
Are there any amendments to unit 9901? Seeing none, all those in favor of governor's recommendation, unit 9901, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next unit, please.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes this agency. There was a discussion by a member during the budget hearings, and it involved this agency, potentially the Business Council, arguably also the Grants Management Office, but there was some interest in including a footnote to provide direct economic cost benefit analysis services for political subdivisions.
So explain that benefit that we're providing.
Well, currently.
Analysis, it's analysis.
Yes,
Okay.
currently, this would be new. These agencies are really not charged with providing economic analysis, cost-benefit analysis to communities. To the extent there is one, and Director Hibbert can correct me, I believe EAD, the Economic Analysis Division within the Department of Administration and Information, does have the ability to provide some cost-benefit or economic analysis to political subdivisions. So this would just be a shift of duties. A member brought it up to us and asked us to remind them at the appropriate time.
So this would be ensuring when a request is made of the SLIB board for MRG funds, that type of thing, that a cost benefit analysis would be conducted to ensure that before the monies are granted, that this really is a win-win situation for the subdivision, I believe is what. Sure. Timeout. We'll take 5-minute recess. Okay, Representative Sherwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make a footnote about my two favorite things, economic development and collaboration. My footnote is to address, to request an collaboration between OSLI and the Wyoming Business Council, that they would provide a cost benefit analysis to any local government or political subdivision that requests one, specific to those who are considering a grant or loan application to SLIB.
And would it be friendly to add the new grants management office to that as well?
My apologies. We want to extend the collaboration to include the grants management office, so that we have a really great look at the cost benefit analysis and the ROI of these projects. Thank you.
Okay. Is there a second? Seconded by just about everybody. We'll go with Representative Smith. Representative Smith, is there any discussion? Senator Larson?
Was there any FTEs on this? Because I don't know how we can get that done. but
I don't think there's
anyway.
any FTEs. This is just, we have economists in each of those departments. It's just telling that we have legislative intent that they use those economists to make sure that political subdivisions or who don't have economists working for them have this, this resource available to them. Make good decisions. Okay. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Sherwood's motion, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, let me see your hands. All those in favor, raise your hands. 6. And all those opposed? Motion carries. Right? Are there any other further motions on, and these are global motions right now, on Agency 060 State Lands? Director Hibbard?
Mr. Chairman. Thank you. A house cleaning item, and I appreciate earlier the motion to have the AWACS be part-time. If you want to get down to brass tacks, an absolute for both modules, you would need an additional $82,253 to pick up the portion of retirement. For the annual, for the 6-month employees and the bill. But if you just choose the one model, you divide that in half. So I think it's $41,127. And what I'm saying here is that I don't know that it's a necessity, because these part-time employees may work the full 6 months, may work the full 3 months, or may not. I just want to put on a record that there's a de minimis amount of money that is a differential between the AWAC position and the part-time position, motivated by allowing the retirement aspect of this.
Okay.
And in full disclosure, we actually, when we built the budget, we were generous on the front end of this, because we didn't know if they were going to need medical benefits for 6 months, 6.5 months, or we have a fire in December, 7 months. So it isn't a large amount of money, but just to be clear, if you were to authorize the full governor's recommendations for both modules, you would add 82,253. If you're looking at one module, it would be the 41,000.
Director Richards, I think when we brought the motion, I tried to make it clear that it was for hazard pay and benefits. Did we have a dollar amount in that motion that would preclude this amount?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there are really two different activities going on here. You had 390,000 to provide the hazard pay, regardless of that legislation, and to align the dates. This 41,127 for one module would align the benefits for a part-time rather than an AWEC position as requested.
Okay, understood. Also, I do believe in the bill that there were a few of these part-time employees that were 9 months.
9
So
months, yeah,
does that need another adjustment for this amount?
No, Mr. Chairman, thank you for that correction. It's 6 months and 9 months. Those are the two. I said 3 and 6. I was mistaken.
6 and 8.
Mr. Chairman, this is, if you were to take the governor's recommendation, that's the fallback position, to make certain that you cover the retirement benefits, and I'm talking brass tacks. You'd want to add for the one module 41,127.
Okay, 41,127. Do I see a motion?
And Mr. Chairman, I believe that the calculations in the bills may have been predicated upon these estimates that were out of the modules from the governor's recommendations. So we just want to ensure that we pull that all together.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion? Representative Harrelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I move to place a footnote to address this discrepancy in amount of time for these part-time employees and their benefit pay. So going with what our staff had recommended.
Okay, for that unit, whatever it is. Are we doing it in a unit or footnote, Director Richards?
Mr. Chairman, it would be a footnote and it would apply to unit 0401.
And it would increase 41,000, seconded by Guru. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Representative Harrelson's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other units or any other global motions? None? Okay. Ms. Childress, you please take the roll on Agency 060, State Lands and Investments as amended.
Roll call vote, Agency 060 as amended, Senator Driscoll. Senator French. Senator Guru. Senator Larson.
Aye. Aye.
Representative Alaman. Representative Angelos.
Aye.
Representative Haroldson.
Aye.
Representative Pendergraft.
Aye.
Representative Sherwood.
Aye.
Representative Smith.
Aye.
Co-Chairman Salazar.
Aye.
Chairman Bear.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, 12 aye.
Agency 060, State Lands Investments is closed. We're getting close to launch, so what is our next agency? That'll help me decide if we'll start a new one.
Mr. Chairman, the next agency can be done in block with one vote. Agency 63, Governor's Residence.
Okay, Agency 63, Governor's Residence as a block vote. Are there any objections to doing a block vote? All right, all those, are there any amendments to the Governor's Residence? Nobody wants to increase the alcohol budget? Right, no, we're not going to add a ballroom to the governor's residence. All right. Are there any amendments? None? All those in favor of governor's recommendation of Agency 063, governor's residence, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Actually, we probably should do a roll call, shouldn't we? Ms. Childers, please do a roll call on Agency 063, governor's residence.
Roll call vote, Agency 063, Senator Driscoll.
Aye.
Senator French.
Aye.
Senator Guru.
Aye.
Senator Larson.
Aye.
Representative Alaman.
Aye.
Representative Angelos.
Aye.
Representative Haroldson.
Aye.
Representative Pendergraft.
Aye.
Representative Sherwood.
Aye.
Representative Smith.
Aye.
Co-Chairman Salazar.
Aye.
Chairman Bear.
Aye.
12 aye.
Agency 063, governor's residence is closed. Any other agencies we can squeeze in before lunch?
Mr. Chairman, this is a larger agency, but I think you can squeeze it in. Agency 66, Wyoming Board of Tourism. It has no exception requests. The governor's letter number 5, which related to the rodeo arena, that will be addressed in the governor's letters. So the agency itself has no exception requests. If you wanted to take this again in block, there are only 2 units. We're not aware of any amendments on this agency.
Okay, without objection, would the committee be okay with voting this in block? All right, seeing no objections, we are voting on Agency 066 Wyoming Tourism Board, not including the governor's letter. Ms. Childers, please take the roll.
Roll call vote, Agency 066, Senator Driscoll.
Aye.
Senator French. Senator Garu,
Aye.
Senator Larson,
Aye.
Representative Malaman, Representative Angelos.
Aye.
Representative Haroldson,
Aye.
Representative Pendergraft,
Aye.
Representative Sherwood.
Aye.
Representative Smith,
Aye.
Co-Chairman Salazar, Chairman Bear,
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, 12 aye.
Agency 066 Wyoming Tourism Board is closed. I believe the next agency is going to be 67 University of Wyoming, so we will delay until after lunch. We'll take 1 hour recess for lunch. You want to get that done before lunch? We sure could.